Good afternoon to all of you. And thanks to Sanjay ji, my esteemed co-panelists, and many of my very illustrious colleagues in the audience, Professor Sangal, Dr. Murthy, Professor Ganesh. So, to address this question, a bit of personal history is relevant. So, my journey in NLP, and I have always been focused on Indian language processing. Started in IIT Kanpur, learning from Professor Vineet Chaitanya and Professor Rajiv Sangal. Now, our first natural language processing project came from United Nations, and this was called UNL project. It is an interlingua-based machine translation system. Now, there was no statistical NLP at the time. Everything was rule-based. There was no neural NLP at the time. Everything was rule-based. So the rules required one to understand the nitty-gritties of the language and also the task. To give an example, we are part of what is called the Bhashini project, and in that there is a sub-consortium called Ishan, which is translation amongst Northeast languages. Now, if we have to make a translator between, let's say, Manipuri and Nepali, or Manipuri and Hindi, where do you get the data from? Okay, these are low resource situations. So first point of technology concern is indeed creation of data. I will mention four important pieces of work from IIT Bombay, including ours, which really try to address the question of data and resources. So when I looked at the topics for this panel, I thought I will take up the subtopic A and subtopic E. Subtopic A is language teaching learning using technology. Subtopic E is technology for language, a 5-year roadmap. So this will be a personal view, and I think those are important based on my very long journey in natural language processing with Indian language in focus. Now, when Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe called me and said that you have to be a panelist in this summit, and it will be on technology for Indian language. This topic is close to my heart. I readily agreed and thought that we will touch upon some of the developments and the way forward. So from IIT Bombay, let me go in a reverse chronological order. Professor Ganesh is working on the Udaan system, which has very strong foundation of machine learning and a pipeline of OCR, machine translation, and post-editing. So this is a very, very worthwhile pipeline, and there is a stall which demonstrates this technology. This is being used by AICTE. It was released by Maharashtra government, and is an important system. Then I would like to talk about Bhashini. We are part of Bhashini, and that is speech-to-speech machine translation system. Speech-to-speech machine translation for education is an extremely important task. We are in dialogue with different engineering colleges in Maharashtra and are alive to the critical need of disseminating technical and scientific knowledge in one's mother tongue. The barrier to understanding these concepts because of language is really tremendous and a real concern. So we have created speech-to-speech machine translation and are discussing with Mumbai High Court and the engineering colleges for its deployment and commercial usage if possible. Professor Preeti Jyoti, my colleague from IIT Bombay, works on code mixing, where code mixing is a way of life. There is this 3-language formula in every state, and people freely navigate from one language to another. An interesting observation I would like to present before you. If we do not restrict people to say that you can use only one language and cannot mix languages, then the level of disfluency, where there is hesitation, repetition of phrases, this is much more if our hands are tied and we cannot use code mixing. So this is a very pertinent problem for the country, and students all over the country use code mixing very freely. And the final resource I'd like to mention is Indian language word nets. 18 languages of the country were linked, which is a very, very enriched dictionary of words, their meanings, and their senses, and example words. So then a lot of water has flown under the bridge after that, and everything is now data and neural network based, maybe statistical based. So in my thinking, the steps that should be taken for enabling Indian language technology in the new education policy scenario, where skilling, concept formation, deployment, they are very important. I would like to place the following tasks. One is, we cannot really lose sight of foundations. We have to create high-quality dictionaries. We have to have high-quality data corpus. We have to have strong machine learning algorithms which are trained using this data. And we have to train people in the techniques of language technology. So people, data, resources, model, and infrastructure, these are the 5 things which apply to any domain, education included. Now, I must emphasize the unique place and importance of education. You cannot compare this with other domains like agriculture, tourism, judiciary. Why? Because education is man-making. We make people. And when people have strong concepts, strong foundations, high level of skill, they contribute to nation development. And language technology is definitely a very important vehicle for education. And we have to do this. I would like to end with the observation on large language models. Our secretary mentioned ChatGPT. A large paradigm shift is happening in the area of language. The ChatGPT answers questions, and that capability is mind-boggling. Now, this should happen in Indian languages, and if efforts are on to create Indian language, large language models, and fine-tuning them, using adapter, using prompting. These are recent techniques which we also have to add to. I have seen students interacting with ChatGPT for answering their questions. However, there is a bit of a danger here. We have seen that ChatGPT can hallucinate. It can give misinformation. ChatGPT can have bias. So those problems need to be solved. So in summary, I would like to say that this 5-pronged attack on data, model, infrastructure, and corpus and machine learning models, plus being able to leverage the technique of large language model is the way forward. Thank you.
Ramesh Ramakrishnan. Professor Pushpak mentioned our project Udaan sometime back in his summary. Now, my specific question is to Dr. Sanjay. Unless for making Bharatiya Bhasha's technology scale, we need academia to do research. Bhashini is a very great example. We need the government support, which is happening, and we need startups. Now, has there been an initiative to actually bring Indian startups on board to promote? Mr. Ganesh Arnal, our Udaan work got technology license to them. They are running this Bharat Bhasha Tech. How can government work with Indian startups is a very crucial question for the Indian startups.
Professor Pushpak to sum it up from the technology point of view and how technology can be integrated to make Bharatiya Bhasha accessible to all.
सर एक क्वेश्चन था मेरा.
Hello. Yeah.
जी सर, थैंक यू.
So I have this very unenviable task of summarizing. Okay. So I'll first would like to observe that Sanjay ji talked about a very important point: how to make all operations language agnostic. Okay. Let there be no language barrier at all. And we know that this is possible mainly through machine translation technology. But large language models like ChatGPT, Bird, they are opening up possibilities which are exciting. Natasha ji talked about the impact of NLLB. So when NLLB came, the whole community was really excited that here is a multilingual system. And we had Muril from Google, Indic Bart from AI for Bharat. And then we have Indian language word nets, which are navigational tools from one language to another. We have Udaan, which is a pipeline of many things together. So these are important developments. So I'd like to just touch upon Professor's comment, which generated a lot of excitement in the in the hall, and many of them are so true. But we have one complaint, academia. The complaint is that the society really was never prepared to tolerate any mistake. Okay, you machine translate, and it has to be 100% correct, very beautiful, and so on. If you look at European machine translation effort, and then efforts in USA, there were gestation periods and learning periods, so very long learning periods, and funding agencies, people were tolerant of that. Okay, so we would like to have those kind of acceptance of our work. And one thing we also know that without industry and startup linkage, without working with them, it is impossible to build products. Product building is not academia's cup of tea. We would like to show the path, and industry startup, along with academia, should move. So this is one important point. Then Kishorji mentioned a number of important systems from MOE, Swayam, National Digital Library, which are extremely important resources for data. Okay, and they should be explored thoroughly. My main point was that we have to take large language models seriously. People, machine learning model, data, and infrastructure, they have to be put in place. Okay, and foundational models have to be created. This we know from technology. What is the way forward? In my reading, the way forward, I'd like to be a little technical on this. The way forward is really taking whatever data you have in Indian languages and create language models. Okay, when we create language models, the parameters are set, and then you apply prompting, fine-tuning, and so on, and they're doing a very good job. Now, there are many languages in the country which do not enjoy the benefit of NLP. So they are the languages which are left out. We have to try things like zero-shot learning, few-shot learning, which are contributions from machine learning. So, I would also like to take up a point from Sanjay ji that complete language agnostic framework is possibly not possible because we lose so much of color and diversity and interestingness of life. So take a phrase like XYZ is धोबी का गधा ना घाट का ना घर का. Okay, so this is a person who has no significant role to play anywhere. So translating such things are very difficult. Okay, and if you expect that they should produce very high quality translation in presence of these complexities, we know that they are difficult. But of course, it is becoming possible now because of the large language model. So with this, I'll end and I'll thank for a very, very exciting and exhilarating discourse. Thank you.